It's 12:15. Good noontime and welcome to Rotary, everybody. We're so glad that you're here with us today. We have a very special program planned for you. Our first order of business, Jan, would you please bring us to order today?
Certainly. Let's pray. Gracious Lord, we give you thanks for this day and this time. And Lord, we give you thanks for the opportunities that are before us this weekend in our community to work to make it a better place through the prayer march and through the polio Moto motorcycle ride. Please be with us and help us all to be part of making things better. We ask this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Jan. And Cynthia, would you like to lead us in pledge today?
Sure. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much. And Pep, are you still available for song today?
Yes. R-O-T-A-R-Y, that spells Rotary. R-O-T-A-R-Y, it's known on land and sea. From north to south, from east to west, who serves the most, who works the most. R-O-T-A-R-Y, that spells Rotary. Woo-hoo.
Thanks so much, Pep, for that. We love it. We certainly love it.
God bless. I'm traveling with the kids this morning.
Wonderful. Well, do be safe. Let's see. We have two visiting Rotarians with us today. One is Cynthia from our sister morning club. Hello, Cynthia, and welcome back.
Hello.
And we also have Mike Dickerson from Laredo, and he'll be speaking with us shortly. Hello, Mike.
Hello. Great to be here.
Great to have you. We have another guest with us today. She's actually kind of between a guest and a Rotarian, and that is Christine Hoskinson. She is the Assistant Director of the Veterinary Technology Program at the university. She's been read twice, and she's just waiting on her new member orientation. Hello, Christine.
Hello, thank you.
Let's see, did I miss anybody today? I don't think I did. Okie dokie. We have a few birthdays coming up this week. Brad and Uche on Friday and Sunday, respectively. If you see them around, wish them a happy birthday. There's cake and ice cream in the conference room. We don't have any wedding, anniversaries this week, and we don't have any Rotary anniversaries this week, but stay tuned, more are to come. Do we have any happy dollar announcements today?
Justin, can I ask what's a happy dollar announcement?
A happy dollar announcement makes more sense when we're in person. If somebody has something happy to tell the group, then they put $1 in the bucket and then they tell us their happy thing. Sometimes Jay Dean has so much good announcements, we make him pay $2.
All right, good to know. Thank you.
Yeah, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense when we're spread out over several counties, but it used to make sense. Thanks for asking. Seeing no more happy dollar announcements, let's move on to a foundation update. And for that, we will be going to our alternative screen for your viewing pleasure. And here we are. This Saturday is World Polio Day. And where do we get our up-to-date polio information? From endpolio.org. This is our official resource for all things polio. And from here, we can recap that the World Health Organization recently declared the region of Africa to be polio-free. And that is wonderful news. All African countries are now certified polio-free. To be certified polio-free, a country has to have no wild polio outbreaks for 3 years. The World Health Organization was so concerned about the continent of Africa that they made a couple of countries, Nigeria, I think Cameroon, and some others, actually go nearly 4 years without a case to be entirely certified. So the region of Africa is now certified polio-free. Where does that leave us? Well, our current status is we still have wild polio cases in 2 remaining countries, Pakistan and Afghanistan. We had a good hold on this, but there were some issues in the local areas that really set us back with some bombings and some bad information that was put out. And now, of course, with some pandemic restrictions, but we still have a good handle on it. And so we really are very close to eradicating polio from the face of the earth, which will be the second human infection to be eradicated. So we're almost there. Thanks so much for sticking with us. And that concludes our Polio Minute. Our Foundation Minute. More Polio Foundation talk tonight. We have our Pints for Polio event, and that is going to be at Bray's Smokehouse. So from 5 until close, Bray's will donate 10% of total sales, not just pints, dine in and carry out, toward the polio eradication initiative. Last year when we did this, they had gross sales of just under $5,000 that night. So Justin Bray cut us a clean check for $500 to go toward polio eradication. So tonight from 5 to close, be sure to join us at Bray's Smokehouse for dinner, or call ahead for carryout from Bray's Smokehouse for dinner tonight. We'll be there for Rotary After Dark from 6 to 7 p.m. Keep that in mind. Thanks so much. And next Tuesday is our next in-person hybrid meeting event. For those that were not with us last time, a quick rundown is that we will have a limited menu to choose from. The price is the same, and you can either pay their day of, or you can be invoiced for that meal. And we will be distancing socially. The large tables will have 4 people and the small tables will have 2. We will have our full Zoom setup there. So if you feel more comfortable staying at home, that's not a problem. It will be a hybrid meeting. Don't forget, coming up, we have our nominations and elections coming up. Remember that in Rotary, we like to run at least 6 months ahead of schedule. So with our upcoming president, our current president-elect, Crystal Emery, she will be at the helm of our new Rotary ship coming up for next Rotary year. So if you have any ideas of who you think would make a good club leader, yourself can be included. Please do let your very favorite board member know.
Justin, for next week's meal, it is $11 in cash, exact change only, please, because we'll collect that internally. That's not going to go straight to Cherry Tree at that time.
Thanks so much for the clarification. $11 cash, no bartering. No bartering. Thanks for clarifying. And that brings us to our featured presentation today. We had past district governor and current district foundation chair Maxie Hauser to speak with us about the Rotary Foundation, but due to an unscheduled doctor's visit, she will be unavailable today. However, we still have Mike Dickerson with us from Laredo, and he will be speaking to us about the End Polio Now campaign and specifically the Rotary Polio Moto 2020 motorcycle rally. So thank you, Mike, and take it away.
Thank you, Justin. Would it be okay if I shared my screen real quick?
Absolutely. Let me make you a co-host, and you have the full rights and responsibilities of a host now.
Can't I just have the rights without the responsibilities?
With great screen sharing comes great responsibility.
Sounds like Spider-Man. All right. Well, I just want to put up the map there for you guys, and I want to start off with saying, you know, this is our 4th year of doing this event, and so I'm going to share a secret with you guys because I know my wife is not on the Zoom, but I came up with this idea because we had just had a baby, and I knew that my, you know, plans for a long motorcycle trip might be somewhat curtailed due to parental responsibilities and risks. But I knew that if I combined 2 passions, it would be very successful and I would get a kitchen pass. So as soon as it was a Rotary fundraiser awareness event, then I got the kitchen pass and the green light. So that was 4 years ago. 4 years ago, we started out with 7 riders, 6 of which did the whole ride. One jumped on in FAR and did all the way to Alice the next day. And then he just went back to McAllen. So the event each year, we've raised over $10,000 for polio, and a lot of that is thanks to clubs like yourselves and members like yourselves who donate to polio, either through our endeavor with the RPM or Rotary Polio Moto. And Justin, don't call it a rally because then people have a different idea of what's involved. So everybody is completely dressed, and so there's no craziness going on. So it's a family-friendly event. So, you know, we start off in Laredo, and I'll just kind of give you guys show you on the map here. We start off here in Laredo, and we make our way down to Rio Grande City. We'll meet with some Rotarians down there. They'll give us some checks, and we won't be as able to hug and hang out like we used to, but you know, we're still going to be able to make that stop. Then we'll stop in FAR, which is right around here. Then we'll hit Harlingen. Then we'll be down in Brownsville, and then we make the long haul up to Kingsville. And I've been promised ice cream, so that'll be good and keep the troops happy. Then we just make our way to Corpus, and we'll spend the night in Corpus. We usually have a barbecue dinner there, and the next morning we're up and at 'em. We'll hit Rockport, and we'll have some coffee and donuts there. Port Lavaca, where we usually visit our PDG Russell Kane. Then we'll swing over to Victoria, where Kent Greer and Lewis Bolt will cook some delicious hamburgers for us. This year we're gonna do it at a restaurant. It's just we're having to relocate the normal spot that we would stop at. Then we make our way down to Alice, where they provide us with, you know, their Knights of Columbus Hall. They go all out and feed us some more when we get there. We get a police escort for part of this route as we're getting into Alice, and then on the way out, I think they're probably thinking motorcycle rally. Let's make sure the cops stay around and they don't cause any problems. Then our last stop is Freer. Last year, we did this event in March, and we were able to get some. We got the rattlesnake show going, so a lot of the people who were on the event, it's probably the first time they'd ever seen the rattlesnake show. So they had them out, and you know, you got to see them handling the rattlesnakes, and from there everybody kind of makes their way home. And you know, as you all know, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation double matches whatever we raise for polio. And I'm not sure if this year there's certain little quirks because of COVID, but nonetheless, we're going to do our best to raise as much money as we can for this event. So any donations are appreciated and welcomed. Now, for your all's club, those of you who want to share in the ice cream at the courthouse, we should be arriving between 4:30 and 5 o'clock is our estimated time. I have Justin's phone number, so if we're ahead of schedule or behind schedule, we'll go ahead and reach out and let y'all know how we're doing on the road. And that's what we're doing. This year we are looking at about 20 riders, more or less. I have a friend of mine who's coming all the way from Pennsylvania, from Allentown. He's going to be flying into Austin, renting a bike, riding down to Laredo, doing the ride, then going home, you know, riding back up to Austin, drop off the bike, get on a plane, and go back home. So that's he's going to get the award for longest travel to get to the RPM ride.
We'll make sure he gets 2 scoops of ice cream.
2 scoops of ice cream. There you go. I'll point him out to you. Does anybody have any questions on the event? You know, any suggestions, ideas?
Mike, thanks so much. And so, Jaden, you go ahead.
I know Mike has to get going, but I did want to see who usually participates in this, Mike, and how much have you raised in the past?
Well, each year we've raised over $10,000. They're mostly people who are, you know, just avid motorcyclists. We don't have that many motorcycling Rotarians down here, although we do have a few. So, you know, it's of Rotarians, it's Barry Bernier, who's my co-chair, Dr. Arturo Limon, who's also a Rotarian. He's in our club. And then there may be a few other guys from throughout the district. But mostly it's the general population, and they get behind the idea of you know, raising funds for a good cause.
Thank you.
And so, Mike, we know that the original date from March got pushed back due to our current stuff. What other? Yeah. And so, what other considerations do you have y'all had to make at each of your stops? Do you need larger parking lots, or did you have to reduce the number of riders?
Well, I think the number of riders kind of took care of itself because there fewer people wanted to go out, so we just had a fewer number of riders who confirmed that they were going to do the ride. So that kind of took care of itself. We you know, when you're on a motorcycle, you really can't be less than 6 feet apart. So, you know, on the ride we're pretty good. we've got helmets. Most people have the neck gaiters on, and so everybody will need to have their masks anyway. So for the most part, that'll be it. And as far as stopping points, most of our stopping points were outside. There's a few places where we were inside, but we've shifted those to larger parking areas. So we're just about everything's going to be outside. The dinner in Corpus is usually inside the hotel, but we moved hotels to the one next to the Harley Davidson. And so Harley Davidson is gonna let us do our dinner there in their property. So those are some of the concessions. Is we're just more open air, and we're also going to, everybody's gonna have to be wearing their masks at the appropriate times.
Right. Now, do you know, say for instance, last year, how many total Rotarians were involved in the event? Not just the riders, but
Right.
At each stop and all that?
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to tell you that because there were different numbers, and that's I can't. I've got enough of a job trying to keep us on schedule and track how much time we're there, and really that's always been the hardest part for me. Is that do you want me to? Oh, you got it. Okay. The hardest part is, and at each stop, it's a time to get to see some friends that I only see at a district event. And so you want to stop and catch up. Hey, what's gone on for the past 6 months? And you just want to, talk and hug the people that you like to hug. And it just, you just can't do it for obvious reasons now. But it's okay. We need to leave right now because we got another stop, and we have to be there by this time because then we need to be at the next stop. And so any delay in one stop ripples through the entire event. And so you guys are kind of at the tail end of, hey, if we wind up getting a delay, that's going to push you guys back. And so the ice cream may be melted if I don't manage the time properly. So that's really the hardest thing is saying, hey, Justin, how are you doing? And this and that and the other, and what's going on, and blah, 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 blah. And then it's like, sorry, dude, I got to go, and, got to get to the next stop. So that's really the hardest part is you want to spend some time catching up.
Excellent. Thanks so much. Does anybody else have anything to ask of Mike regarding our polio eradication campaign?
Justin, I just think it's important to let everyone know two things. First, Mike, we giggled last year when Justin suggested the idea of serving y'all shakes from Harold's. Then that evolved into ice cream, and we just giggled, picturing a bunch of motorcyclists eating ice cream. And then when we found out you really enjoyed it after that long haul, it even made it worth it.
Uh-huh.
And then number two, when we went to the commissioner's court to make sure that we had permission to use the courthouse, they got their backs up until we had to explain, no, it's Rotary running, raising funds for polio. And then they asked if we could build some ramps on the way. And I told them I would at least ask.
Well, if you guys want to build some ramps, we'll be happy to stand there for the photo op. I don't know that we'll have enough time to do any swinging any hammers because we'll need to try to get to Corpus before it starts getting dark.
Fair enough, but Rotary made it a very easy sell. Good luck.
Yeah, it always does, as my kitchen pass can prove.
Actually, J. Dean, correct me if I'm wrong. I thought the ramps were for the ride, so they can, at the courthouse.
Evel Knievel.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Mike. You're welcome to stick around if you'd like, but I know that you have some other obligations. Thanks so much for coming in today.
Stop sharing and give you back the reins. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it, and I look forward to seeing anybody who's going to be there on Saturday. All right. Thank you, guys. Got to
We'll
go.
see you Saturday afternoon. Thanks so much, Mike.
Bye-bye.
And now on to our second part of our foundation talk. We will now move to a Rich K presentation. Rich K is one of our ARRFCs. That is an assistant regional Rotary Foundation chair. Our regional Rotary Foundation chair is Art Zeigler out of the Rotary Club of Corpus Christi. He was unavailable, and in fact, past district governor and current district foundation chair Maxie was unavailable. We went through over a half dozen folks after our emergency this morning, and so we're left with yours truly to give you a foundation talk. Good thing I was at this presentation at District Assembly, and Jay Dean will correct me when I go astray. This is Rich K. And so what is the point of the foundation? Why do we have to have a foundation if we already have an international organization that does good? And I'm opening the floor.
Couldn't we just take in money and spend it directly, Justin? Yeah, why do we need one?
Yes, and that's what our slush fund is for. But part of the problem is that Rotary International and our individual Rotary clubs are a 501c4, which for those of you that don't know what that alphanumeric code means, it means that individuals and businesses do not get a tax benefit for donating toward a 501c4. The Rotary Foundation is a 501c3 charitable organization, and so you do get a tax benefit by donating to the Rotary Foundation. And so an agenda for the next 20 minutes, 10 minutes, will be different aspects of the Rotary Foundation and why there are so many pieces and parts to this puzzle. So we have Rotary, we have Rotary International, which feeds into the Rotary Foundation. And so when you pay your dues, that's dues to our club, and part of those dues go to Rotary International, part of those dues go to our district, but the dues do not go to Rotary Foundation. When we donate to things like Polio Plus, when we donate to every Rotarian every year, things like that, those do go through TRF. Under TRF, the Rotary Foundation, we have several different funds. The main fund that we the main two funds that we talk about are the annual fund, which is every Rotarian every year, EREY, also known as E-Ray, because we like to call things for different things. We donate to the annual fund and Polio Plus. And so our polio eradicator campaign here locally and the RPM, the Rotary Polio Moto that Mike was talking about at the district level, these all feed into the Polio Plus or the Polio Plus fund. We also have an endowment fund. And Jay Dean, correct me if I'm wrong, have you donated to the endowment fund? Didn't you make a contribution there?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. And there's several different ways to do it. You can certainly do it if you have extra funds, which is gracious and those blessed people. You can also do it the way I did it, because I don't have extra funds, but I will when I pass. And so I gave a percentage of my insurance claims to them, and so that gives me the same the same purchasing power as someone that might have some extra funds to share.
And I happen to know that Michelle was very excited to hear about that after you did it. We also have the Disaster Response Fund and the World Fund. So let's learn what these things are. But first, one of the reasons why TRF is such a widely respected organization is that monies donated come back to do good in the world. They don't pay a CEO, they don't pay people. The money that you donate really does do good in the world. And it was named a 4-star charity by Charity Navigator. We are one of the top foundations in the entire world due to our bookkeeping and efforts. So the annual fund, again, this is part of the E-Ray campaign. And so when we give money to the annual fund, it's invested for 3 years. And so you can see a sliding scale here. It's invested for 3 years. And after 3 years, those monies come back to us in the form of DDF, district designated funds. And so these can go toward our district grants and to our global grants. And so these are matched, different kinds of matching, sometimes 1-to-1, sometimes half to 1 to our own contributions. And so this is how we are able, by the magic of multiplication, we're able to turn X number of dollars into Y number of dollars to do so much more good in the world. And so when we donate to the annual fund, we're ensuring that we're able to carry on our projects in the near future. And again, that's done on a 3-year basis. And so the money that we got this year from our district designated funds for our district grant came from contributions through our district 3 years ago. The endowment fund is, as J.D. mentioned, it's support for tomorrow. And so that is restricted giving, and that can be used in different ways. But this isn't one that we push too much here in our local club, but this is a fund option. Disaster Response Fund is a relatively newer fund, and these came, I believe, in response to some, was it earthquakes in Haiti that spurred this, J.D., or am I completely making that up?
I believe this is so far back. This is actually the tsunami in Thailand, and it's
Okay.
been used for those sorts of things that you're talking about.
Great, thanks. And of course, we are quite familiar with our Polio Plus fund. And so when we donate through our local polio eradicator program, which is a suggested $10 a month, but there's no cap on giving, then these dollars go through the Rotary Foundation, and these are matched 2-to-1 by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. So when you give $100 this year, then that turns into a total of $300. What does $100 do towards polio eradication? That buys 161 doses of IPV, and that is the oral vaccine that is given to children across the world. It's the, I believe, inactivated polio vaccine is what that means. I won't spend a whole lot of time on this, but the point of this chart is to show you that there at the far top right is our DDF. That's our district designated funds. These are the monies that come back to us to help fund our projects. The only contributions through DDF to DDF are from the annual fund. And so that is our Every Rotarian E-Ray program. So that's why we push that real hard. It's not just to build up the fund, it's because we actually see tangible results from donating to the annual fund, E-Ray, Every Rotarian every year. You can donate to a specific area of focus, but these were the 6 areas of focus that were required at the global grant level: peace, disease, water, mothers, education, economies. Opening the floor, does anybody remember what the current or the upcoming 7th area of focus will be? That's right, protecting the environment. Very good. So coming July 1, 2021, we will be able to apply for global grants for the 7th area, pardon me, of focus, 7th area of focus in protecting the environment. That was a long time coming, and several of the other areas of focus were able to be massaged a little toward that, but now we have a frontline resource for protecting the environment. The E-Ray campaign, there was for $100 a year, if everybody in the club donates $100 a year, then we will be a 100% E-Ray club. We will get a banner and international recognition for that. Worry not, we are on our way toward this because we have $10 a month built into our giving. And so we will have a per capita $120 in our club. So you can be proud of yourself for donating toward the annual fund automatically by being a member of our club. And we thank you for your generosity. There are other ways to be sustaining members, and we won't spend just too much time on some of these. And I do want to mention a Paul Harris Fellow. So this is actually the Paul Harris Society, which means that you plan to give continuously. But what a Paul Harris Fellow is if you donate $1,000 to the Rotary Foundation through multiple different kinds of funds. It can be a combination of Polio Plus, it can be annual funds, so on and so forth. If you donate $1,000, then you are now recognized as a Paul Harris Fellow. I don't want to muddy the waters here, but the point isn't to be a Paul Harris Fellow. The point is to donate to do good. A Paul Harris Fellow reward is simply the recognition for doing that good. But remember that the fellowship itself, the Paul Harris Fellow pin that you get, that's not the goal. Good is the goal. This is just the recognition. And I am not going to get too far down into the weeds here. J. Dean, was there something that I should mention as I am zooming through these things here?
No, and I think you hit the nail on the head with the Paul Harris, because most people in our club that have been awarded Paul Harris's, it's always been an accident. You're giving a little bit, making sure you're doing your part, and then a year or so goes by, and all of a sudden the president calls you up to the front to award you that. So yeah, you hit the nail on the head, Justin. It's to do the good, slowly.
Thanks,
and surely.
Thanks so much. If you forget things the way I do, but you still want to give, we have a solution for you, and that is Rotary Direct. That is recurring giving. You can go to your My Rotary account and set up your one-time or continued transaction. It can be $10 a month. It can be $100 a year. It can be $5,000 one time. The option is yours, but Rotary Direct is an easy way to give toward good without having to think too much about it. You can do that again through your My Rotary account. And I am going to get out of that. Do we have any questions on the Rotary Foundation or our current polio campaign? All
Justin,
right. Yes, sir.
And the reason I make sure if I do have some funds to do good, the reason I always give it to Rotary is Rotary has such a low overhead. We're mostly volunteer based. The full-time staff that we do have up in Evanston, they work very hard. And when you compare Rotary's programs with any others, we're about less than 10% as far as overhead, which is really, really low. Most of these programs are, they're doing good, but because they're doing good, they have to build in an overhead. And so 50% actually passing through to the charity that you want is usually a standard. Maybe 60%, if 60% of your funds, after going through the administration that keeps up with them, with most programs, that's usually a high percentage. You usually get kind of a star if you get 60% of your funds to the actual charity. So Rotary being less than 10, I mean, that's amazing.
Thanks so much. I think we're in the 3 to 4% range, if I saw some numbers correctly, and I'm not making things up. That concludes our foundation talk. Thank you, Mike Dickerson, who has already left, and we will be praying for a speedy recovery from Maxie. We have some upcoming events tonight. Pints for Polio at Bray's Smokehouse, 5 until close. Dine in or carry out, and that's 10% right off the top. Not just pints, but total sales for tonight. So if you didn't know what you were going to do for dinner, you do now. Do you know what pairs with Pints for Polio? Rotary After Dark. We'll be there 6 to 7 p.m. If anybody needs a new member orientation, Christine, we will be there 6 to 7 with a new member packet. We look forward to seeing you there. This Friday is the season finale of the current season of Together for Peace. Information and Zoom link is in your bulletin. This Saturday is World Polio Day. We will be celebrating locally with Rotary Polio Moto 2020 around 5 p.m. on the north side of the Clayburgh County Courthouse for an ice cream social. Join us if you can. And next Tuesday is our next in-person hybrid meeting. We look forward to seeing you in person or virtually. Does anybody else have anything for the good of Rotary today?
Justin,
Yes.
this is Norma. I zoomed in a little late, but about 12:30 or 12:24, but I've been here.
That's wonderful, Norma. Thanks so much for being with us today.
You're welcome.
And now let's go to the weekly Paul Harris drawing winners. Let's see our current leaderboard. Not a lot of stiff competition this week. I think by unanimous decision, Dawn and I might take the week. Worry not, there's always another week around the corner, and there's always time to connect with your fellow Rotarian. And now, if you will please join me in the things we think, say, and do. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? That's all for today, folks. Thanks so much.
Adios.
Adios.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.